Hi, Uncle Larry here. What does diversity mean? Is diversity our strength, as the popular phrase goes, or does it divide us? In many ways, our respective passions and commitments have always involved disagreement with others who think differently. There's no point in reaching back to some golden age of respectful dialogue because, frankly, you're not going to find it. However, you could argue our current situation is worse. I think it is. Outrage is our narcotic, but the drug is more potent than it used to be. Social media was supposed to bring us together, but that hasn't happened. It's acted like a drug pusher, amping us up further, inciting us to pick a side and fight. Of course, we don't see this in ourselves. No. We don't accept our own complicity in that. It's the other guy who's outraged, right? This narcotic of outrage is exclusively the drug of our ignorant, poorly informed opponents. It couldn't possibly be us. We're right. Our certainties are rock solid. Really. No humility there. We appear to have lost all self-awareness. Where's that mirror? We've made a sham of concepts like diversity or inclusion or civility. Sure, we toss the words around, but only insofar as they adhere to our definition of them. Since we are right, only the version our side has articulated is the correct one. Allow me to get personal for just purposes of illustration here. Because of my past public profile and whatever's left of it, over the years I've had people wonder why my disposition seems to lean toward the conservative. It doesn't matter that I consistently advocate for the vulnerable. I've been awarded for my efforts there, that I believe in a robust welfare state, that I support universal health care, that I promote real climate change solutions, that I speak up for the working class. No. According to them, my problem is I don't focus enough on issues like identity, race, gender, ethnicity, oppression, unequal power relations, the almost exclusive vocabulary of people on the left these days. So I don't pass the purity test, and that's enough to disqualify me from the group, and so therefore I must be a conservative. I also hear from people who wonder when I became such a liberal. People on the right have actually asked me how I can be so blind to the tyrannical forces which are trying to destroy our traditions, our national institutions, our icons, our faith, our history, and replace them with a globalist dictatorship. I've been brainwashed. I have scales on my eyes. I don't pass the purity test either on that side, and that's enough to disqualify me from the group, and so therefore I must be a liberal. I don't know if it's a good sign or not, but I get criticized for being too liberal and too conservative in pretty much equal measure. Well, the truth is I am pretty conservative about some things, and I'm pretty liberal about others, just like a lot of people. But there doesn't seem to be a place for square pegs like us, does there? We just don't fit. We ain't pure enough. There used to be more like us, but in the last couple of years it sure seems to me like folks I thought I knew have lost their minds. They've lost their equilibrium. They've picked a side and started fighting like outraged people I no longer recognize. In a recent essay called Take a Position, Not a Side, William Deresiewicz wrote, quote, "Many people who still value intellectual rigor, coherence, and dialogue have noticed for some time that the social justice left is the mirror image of the puritanical right that some of us remember as the moral majority in the 80s and 90s. Both possess the same obsession with purity, the same unthinking dogmatism, the same moral certainty, the same intellectual hollowness, the same fragility, the same fixation on feelings over facts, the same authoritarian impulses." Unquote. I believe he's right. He goes on to say we need to revitalize tough opposition to the toxic, destructive extremists on both the left and right who have taken the rest of us hostage. People are just sick of this seesaw of creeping authoritarianism. Now, I think the pressure to pick a side is pretty intense these days, and we should note that there are occasions when there are only two sides, but not nearly as often as we're led to believe. In cases where there appears to be just two options, there is nothing wrong with choosing one over the other unambiguously. But taking a position is different from taking a side. Taking a position on a particular specific issue, while not on others, means you can just state your own opinion without conforming to the purity tests of a certain side in order to advocate for your desired outcome. In conclusion, why don't we drop the purity tests, which force us to pick a side and get mad as if picking a side and winning is everything, as if it's the whole game? As if picking a side is the most important thing instead of actually achieving some worthwhile objectives. No matter how outraged you get, you're never going to get everything you want anyway. Most negotiations don't pan out like that. So how about putting aside your grievances and disagreements in order to just get some things done? Why not treat people at face value? How about giving your perceived opponent the benefit of the doubt once in a while? How about trying a little compromise with those who aren't exactly like you? I wonder what we would call this new attitude. Maybe it's diversity. You know, the real kind of diversity.